Welcome to the In My Opinion show with Ronald Barry Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can also view the In My Opinion show on Flint, Michigan Comcast, channel 17 every Saturday at 6 and every Wednesday at 8:30. You can also view the In My Opinion show on Detroit Comcast cable channel 68, 7 days a week. We have a wonderful panel with us. We have Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Henry. We have Miss Denise Smith-Allen.
Hello, Ronald.
Welcome all to the In My Opinion show. The United States was founded on religious principles. Will this nation ever have a non-Christian president? Mr. Hatter, what do you think?
We may have already had some. It's difficult to go back and look at those. I know that George Washington himself was a deist, and he believed that, deists do believe that God created the world, but he let it run by itself.
Okay.
I was just watching a show just a couple of weeks ago about George Washington. But George Washington, most of his writings did refer to a God-fearing nation. I believe that Abraham Lincoln were. I believe that most of the presidents that I know that have been religious presidents, but it's difficult to say that, Ron. That's a tough question. And in days like today, we have to give people what they want to hear. You can't tell people the truth. So
Why is that, do you think? That people would rather hear a lie than the truth? I've never been able to understand that.
Well, you can see the difficulty that our current president is having with that, Islam versus Christianity. Now, you can't tell me which one he leans more to. So, and I don't know of anybody who knows where President Obama is, whether he's truly a Christian or he is an Arab. And does it make a difference? I don't know. But you ask a tough question, and one that I cannot answer. Because I know that if I were running for president, and I know that most of the people wanted me to be a Christian president, I would be a Christian president. That just makes good common sense.
Yeah, but it might make good common sense, but where does truth enter into this?
It is the truth.
Okay.
If you believe it.
Well, if you believe a lie.
Well,
But isn't it better? I've always been raised to believe that the truth is always the best course of action. It might not, for you, or for a person, it might not be the best course of action, but it's the right course of action.
But Ron, of all the people that you know, how many people do try to meet the expectations of their group? I mean,
Well, I think maybe that's the problem, trying to make the expectations of a group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make expectations for yourself. You know, what matters to you.
But you by yourself
At the end of the day, how do you feel about yourself?
But you by yourself cannot stand against the masses who want something else. You can't push your ideology over on the masses of the people. So you got to join the masses.
No, you don't.
Okay.
In my opinion, if you're true to yourself, all right, and you're not hurting anybody, all right, or making false witnesses towards somebody, you know. Denise, what's your thoughts?
Well, again, it is a tough question. I think that you have people who are religious and you have people who are spiritual. This country has been set up to be a so-called Christian nation. And therefore, those persons who have aspired to get the vote, they have identified themselves as Christians. Now, what they do and how they relate to their God is a personal situation, and that's between them and their God. But if they've identified themselves as Christian, then the people who choose to elect them believe that's what they are.
What an ingenious response. I don't know why I didn't think of that. But that was an ingenious response.
Because she's a smart woman.
But
Not to take anything
like
from you, because
religion
you're a smart man.
it's a personal thing. And you can still meet the expectations of other people. And Ron, if I didn't know people like that, I would not hold it to this argument. But I know that people who have the dominion over thousands of people, but who are hypocritical.
Absolutely.
And for me to say that the world is all just left and right is not true.
It's not black
There
and white.
is
It's gray.
gray areas in there.
Absolutely.
And this is why we have to search for the truth. Truth is hard to identify. And so people can say to you, Ron, I am a born-again, devout Christian, and go out and do all kind of surreptitious things to hurt other people
Exactly.
and get away with it. I'm sure that you've had those experiences.
Oh, of course, of course.
You know about it. So when you come to the President of the United States, is he any different?
Well, he has to arise above all of that.
How?
Okay.
And be isolated?
Well, he might only be a one-term president, but I think if you're going to be the leader of millions of people, all right, and millions more, if not billions, in terms of leadership around the world, you can't be a follower. You got to be that leader.
Okay.
All right.
And I believe that he has been a leader.
Exactly.
But I also believe that he's been a leader who has had experiences and exposure in a lot of different areas, including religion. And maybe in his earlier life, he may have been exposed to and chosen to follow a certain religion. But as time progressed, it may have changed. Okay? But at this point, his religious beliefs are his.
Sure.
And for him or anyone to stand up and get into a defense about their religion, that to me is really not a subject that we need to be spending a lot of time on, okay? Because at the end of the day, people are not so much concerned about your spirituality or your religion. They want to know about your economics and about these other things that play a part in their life.
And can you be trusted?
Okay.
Now you can be very aloof in religion, but can you be trusted? Will you do what you say you will do? Will you deliver on your promises? Those are things that set aside from your religious ideology or beliefs.
Right. Your
That could be
integrity.
personal.
Sure.
Your integrity.
Yeah, your
Exactly,
integrity.
exactly.
Those are the things, and we need to say that again to your audience, that it is the truth and integrity in what you believe and how you deliver on promises. How you treat the other person. Do you treat the person like you want to be treated?
Sure.
Or do you do something to hurt other people? Or
Well-
deny other people?
Well, this is how I try to live my life, is with integrity, all right? And being true to myself. You and I have had this conversation, several times, is that at the end of the day, and I've said this I don't know how many times, if you've done the best you can do, that's all you can do,
That's it.
okay? And be satisfied with that.
That, by its definition, all the things that we have characterized here, that characterize a person, the honesty, integrity, the truth, treating people the way you want to be treated, those are very godlike. No matter what you call them, a deist, an atheist, or whatever, you call them just nature. There's something very noble about those characteristics that we can all live with. And it supersedes your definition of God and Christianity and spiritualism and all of those.
But don't you think a lot of times we throw religion in too often? You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a cover-up or people think that it might be the right thing to say or do at that particular time.
I think a lot of times when people are concerned about religion, they want to know about your moral fiber, your character. They want to know if you've got something in you that's good, okay? Because if you haven't had some of those basic things covered that we already talked about, then again it comes down to a trust factor and a point of a real decision that has to be made. You know, where will you go with that? Will you do what will be in the best interest of the people, or will you do something that will be self-serving?
Okay.
You know, so those are the kinds of things that people are looking at, you know, more than anything else. You know, there are some who may say, well, you know, only Christians can have that certain characteristic, but I beg to differ. You know, I believe that, you know, if you have a spirituality and you have a connection with the God of your understanding, that is the real issue here. And then if you're in leadership, whether it be president or any other leadership capacity, then people will more likely believe that you're going to do something that's going to be in the best interest of that particular office or whatever that you're serving in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's where I'm coming from with that. You know, personally, I have my own belief system. Yes, I'm a Christian, but I'm saying in the capacity of leadership, in the capacity of being elected to the top office or any other office, whereas you're governing people, people are wanting to know that you're going to do what's in the best interest of the people that you've been elected or appointed to serve.
And God is, you take a look at the concept of God, the spiritual human being. We've never met him. We've never seen him. We've never touched him. We can only imagine who he is. But certainly, if we can agree across the board that honesty and integrity are characteristics of this God that we've never met, then we're close to God than we think we are, no matter who you are.
Amen.
Something to think about.
Absolutely.
It's something to think about.
Thank you.
We're going to change subject matter here. Karl Rove, the architect of America's now miseries, along with Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, Rice, the principal government officials. Now the Tea Partiers, through more lies and manipulation, are furthering this country's demise, are saying we want our country back. Taken back from who? The U.S. has not been taken over by some foreign country. That's just a code word for we don't want a black man in charge. These idiots need to shut up and get a life. Get used to it. Obama is the president. And I'm sure you've heard we want our country back, and you've heard we want our country back. So again, I'll say, take it back from who? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you can't believe all of that. A lot of that stuff is just mishmash. And many of those idiots that you talked about voted for Barack Obama, the members of the Tea Party. As a matter of fact, the members of the Tea Party voted to assure that there are 2 black Republicans, one in Florida and one in Virginia, that has become congressman in the United States. And it doesn't mean that they're against the black man. It means that they have a position. They believe in something. And that something may be how big the government should grow. How much money should the government go into debt to wage war? How much money should the government go in to provide for health care? And how do we shore up Social Security so that there would be enough for everybody? And how do we stop building building on a platform that won't stand? If you give everybody health care, and I know that this is going to sound kind of nasty, so kind of bear with me here. If most people don't want to provide for health care for everybody, because the way government does it, they will cut benefits and spread them out over more people, and people just don't want that. And would you want that, Ron?
Healthcare is going to happen, Henry.
No, but I'm asking a question specific. You have health care, right? No. Do you want the government to cut benefits to spread it out over more people so that you assure...
But that's not going to happen.
Ron, you're evading the question.
No, I'm telling you the truth. It's not health care. It's going to be health care.
Okay.
Okay, you know.
But let me go on with my point, Ron.
Okay.
Since I see.
And I'm not trying to sidestep.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that health care, regardless of those Republicans,
Okay.
it's going to happen.
Okay. But now, what we're hoping that will happen, the Tea Party will do, is to come up with some kind of compromise so that health care would be sufficient to provide for all people. Right the way it is right now, without the Obama plan, all Americans have
It's
health
called the health care
care. I know.
for Americans, not the Obama plan.
Okay, but that's how people would like to characterize it. And it's probably going to be called that for 200 or 300 years from now. But what most people would like to have is health care for everybody the way it was with Medicaid and Medicare. Most people have health care. They don't have insurance, but they have health care. If you break a leg right now and you don't have insurance, somebody will come along and take you to the hospital and repair that leg and give you the medication you need to recover. If you have pneumonia, you will have that. Nowhere in the world does that happen except in the United States. Even if we have foreign people here who become hurt or killed or bring their kids over here without insurance, we provide for those. But coming out of the benefits of many Americans are those costs. And this is what most Americans just are not ready for. Someday, the bigger the threat is put on stability in the United States, you may be able to bring it back through. But Americans right now are not prepared to water down health care of those who have good benefit plans.
Well, we'll get back to it. I know you don't like this, Henry, but
I'm within
what in the world did Bush do in those 8 years? Okay, where were the Tea Partiers? Hooping and hollering and talking all that foolishness when Bush was in office.
They had not been born yet.
Okay, but they were born. They were born. Okay.
Tea Party is a new phenomenon.
It's just a code word for Republican.
Yeah, well. They are more right than Republican.
Right, and I think that the Tea Party probably encompasses a wide variety of people, including wingnuts.
And Democrats.
Okay, and independents. I think this is a wide variety. Okay, but when you hear the term "taking the country back," I always think about you can think a lot of different ways of looking at that, but when I hear it, to me, it's a code word for taking it back to the 50s. Okay, it's taking it back to a time when we had, segregation, and we had a lot of things that just weren't in place for blacks and other minority groups in this country. But, believe it or not, the demographics are going to bear itself out. By 2050, this country will be majority minority.
And that's what the white folks are scared of.
And regardless to how fearful or how angry or how upset or whatever, that's not going to change the outcome.
Okay, can I make a point here?
Absolutely.
This is what we're here for. Now, you're gloating at a time when.
No, I'm not gloating. I'm just speaking the truth because all of the indications are there. Yeah. It's not Ronald Berry Robinson that made this up.
Okay, but you're both right. By 2050, the United States, the white Americans in this country will no longer be the arithmetic or political majority in this country. So, and they already know that, and they're bracing for it. But that may spell doom to the country too, as well, because we have to get African Americans and Hispanic Americans, all the other Americans who have segmented themselves up, distilled themselves up into these little powerful eddy groups, will tear this country to pieces. Whites in this country will still maintain most of the money and the power.
Sure.
Until years after 2050. But what the rest of the segment, how stable this country is going to be, is going to be based upon how prepared African Americans and Hispanics are to run this country. And with what purpose and zeal. And they got to be able to share the power or they will tear this country to pieces.
Well, that's all. I think that's all that I would ask for. All right, is share the power. All right, share the wealth. Okay, not. I don't care what color you are, white or black or brown or yellow. All right, we all bleed the same color. All right, I don't care if you're black, white, red. For all you folks out there, and hopefully millions that are listening to this program, and I've said this before, me, you, we all come from the same place, okay? Look it up on your internet, or go to your public library. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Your DNA is the same as mine. That's just the way it is.
But it's based more on DNA. It's based on a purpose and a will.
Sure.
We will have these.
But the reason I say the DNA thing is because, you got the white folks wanting to do this, and you got the black folks wanting to do this, you got the Japanese wanting to do this, you got the whoever else wanting to do this. But at the end of the day, scientifically, all right, we are all 99.9% the same.
But in many cases, Ron, and excuse me, Denise, but many whites understand this process, and many are on your side, and they sympathize with you. They don't want to see the country destroyed over regionalism or over how we are segmenting it themselves up.
Well, neither do I.
They are willing to go to the nth degree to restabilize this country because they have their children's children are planning to be here at that time. They want stability. They want cultural opportunities for them.
Absolutely.
They want to live, and most people.
Isn't that what black folk want for their families too?
So.
And Hispanics and any other race of people?
I would hope that. But we gotta grow the process because the components that are not there right now because we're so fragmented over slavery, over economics, over the wars abroad, which don't affect us at all, except some of our kids get killed and we send out.
Sure, it affects us. What's happening over there now?
But what we need to think about is how should we prepare the country? We only got 40 years to prepare the country for a time that would be strikingly different.
Well, we might only have till 2012.
Yeah, we gotta talk about this. We gotta bring people to the table, and people have got to learn that they gotta compromise. They can't have it the way they want it to be. We're gonna have to share it together. Or other people will take it.
Any thoughts? Any further thoughts?
I think it still goes back to the basic education and those persons who are interested in wanting to see this country remain solvent. We have to get our persons who are going to take the helm over. They need to be prepared. And how are they going to be prepared? They have to be educated. And they have to want the education, because we're running into a lot of young people, particularly, who have lost interest in education because they don't see the relevancy. And so we have to teach them the relevancy in terms of, okay, you are going to be our leaders. And you cannot lead if you don't understand what leadership is, okay? You have to be a good follower. You also have to have an understanding of how this government works, and on and on and on. So,
absolutely.
So, we have to do our due diligence in terms of preparation. But I also say, in terms of preparing, you also have to have people who are willing to take that on.
And to take challenges.
Yeah,
all
they
right?
have to be willing.
And,
they have to be willing.
And look at the glass as half full as opposed to half empty.
Ron, there may be help after this conclusion of this session. There may be help for the country by 2050.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
There may be help.
Because I think this country that we live in needs it.
Absolutely.
Religiously, morally, integrity-wise, and everything else. Okay. Because this is still the greatest country in the world. Okay? Real quickly, actor Wesley Snipes has gone to prison for income tax issues. Prosecutors withheld vital information from the defense. Should Snipes receive a new trial? What's your thoughts? The prosecutor withholds vital information in a trial. In my opinion, I think that prosecutor is the one that should go to jail as well. Denise, what's your thoughts?
Absolutely. I believe that a new trial needs to be initiated post haste. This man came to court. He had the money to pay. He was charged criminally and was sent to prison. With the information that could have been brought forth, perhaps he would not have received that. For persons who have been engaged in tax evasion, they've had other things that have happened to them, not necessarily imprisonment. In this circumstance, I believe that, and I heard him on the radio and explaining his position and what had happened to him and the kind of misinformation that's gotten out there about this whole thing, and that's why I think it's really imperative that he get a new trial. Imperative.
Unfortunately, this has been a great conversation, but we must bring the In My Opinion show to a close. But first, remember, he who controls literature controls your thinking. He who controls the circumference of your thinking controls the diameter of your knowledge. He who prescribes the diameter of your thinking controls the circumference of your activity. Who controls your mind? This is Ronald Barry Robinson, Denise Smith Allen, and Mr. Henry Hatter saying, for the In My Opinion show, until next time, stay focused.